shake, rattle, and troll.
It's time for the award-winning Shake, Rattle, and Troll.
Yeah, kiss to everybody. Grab your favorite ponies. Me and the boys gonna shake.
A show for the serious fishermen as well as the novice looking for tips from the pros. Shake, Rattle, and Troll brought to you by Bill Luke Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram. I-17 and Camelback Road since 1927.
Yeah, we got the power, we got the speed. We're running wide open on a midsummer breeze. Fresh water, salt water, watch out, boys. Bass Daddy Don's gonna make some noise. It's me and the boys gonna shake, rattle, and
Now, here's your host, saltwater fisherman, the man that fears no fish, Bass Daddy and Tournament Pro, Don McDowell.
Yeah, man. Hey, I'm Don McDowell. Welcome to Shake, Rattle, and Troll today. No NASCAR today. We had NASCAR last night.
I know. What are you going to do all this afternoon?
Yeah, I'll try to get the chainsaw going.
There we go.
There you go.
Productive.
That's Special K. He's going to give us a little update on the Hall of Fame banquet last night. But special guest today, Scott Lavin from the Department of Arizona Game and Fish Department, Chief of Nightlife and Recreation, correct?
That's amazing.
Actually, wildlife recreation.
But
wildlife
I got
recreation.
it. I got it.
I thought it was nightlife. I'm sorry. Good morning, Scott.
Good morning. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Is that like spotlighting opportunities?
Yeah.
I keep getting these emails on the black-footed ferret on spotlighting opportunities. I need you to straighten that out. That's not a hunting opportunity, correct?
And now that's kind of outside of my wheelhouse, but no, that's a wildlife viewing opportunity. That's been a really successful reintroduction into the state, and their numbers are doing well, and it's just an opportunity to see the work that's being done.
Just to look at them.
Correct.
Okay, I got that.
Steady.
Okay, I'm tracking on you. Yeah, they've done a good job. Well, Scott's down visiting with us today. We've got the Sportsman's Portal that's about to go viral worldwide. We're going to be talking about that. We're also going to be talking to Vern Bagley on the backstory. Little something Vern wants to share with us. We have one soldier on roll call today, unfortunately, from last week. As of August 24th, we lost one soldier in battle. And Cabal, we'll talk about that at roll call time. But John and Scott, do you do any offshore fishing?
Last year we did a tuna trip about 100 and some miles off of Mexico, and just had a blast. A couple Game and Fish guys put it together. Maybe Kevin Bergeson is the mastermind behind that madness. And I don't get to go this year because it falls on the same weekend or the same week as the Association of Fish and Wildlife Conference. So I'm a little butthurt about that, but I'll be back next year.
You're going to another conference?
Yeah.
Every time
More
I try,
nightlife.
Yes. This is where that term came from. Whether it's the Riverwalk down in San Antonio, whether it's another conference, this is the nightlife we're talking about.
I see. I didn't go get to San Antonio, so I can't speak too much about that.
Didn't?
No. But this is where we get all of our bright ideas. We work with these national entities. We get the latest science coming out of Wildlife Management Institute, and in my branch in particular, we couldn't do what we do without that kind of national level visibility.
Well, you pretty much are bringing the Game and Fish Department, like myself, into the 21st century as far as technology and the website, social media, and all these kind of things.
I'll be happy if we could just achieve the 20th century, and then we can maybe down the road work on the 21st century. And I know John's giving me a lot of grief on this, but we've got some really exciting things coming up for a January release, and then to us that's really when the work really begins, because the stuff we have planned for after that is going to be so much more work. But you guys know our website's about 30 years old. It needs a major overhaul.
I know, but that was one of my major concerns. There's so much information. It's like going to the library.
How do you put everything in a format that is visually accessible or intuitively available so that you can go to it immediately? And quite frankly, the hunting portal seems to be a great idea for doing that.
Yeah.
And then to have a fishing portal.
So
yeah. Actually, you're going to be able to write your own profile. If I want to get emails on this, that, and the other thing, that's all I get. I don't have to
click and choose.
Yeah. JK.
Never mind. I'm not going to go there.
I'm just saying.
I know what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. You're slated to go January
The end of January 2015, okay. and our engineer and tech guys are very particular to make sure it's the end, not the beginning. So we're trying to, when we first rolled this out, we needed to discuss the idea that we were doing something different, so we called it the portal. But in reality, to anybody out in the public, it's basically going to be a revamp of the Game and Fish website. It's going to be a new Game and Fish website. There'll be a highly specialized customer interface. So if you want, you could just log on to your own landing platform with the Game and Fish department, and that's free to anybody. It'll be I draw some similarity to Facebook because I'm dumb and that's the only thing I can relate it to. But basically, you'll be able to go in, say this is Don. I like fishing and hunting, and it'll tailor. And John, to your point, our current website has, I think, about 47,000 different pages of data. It's a machine, and unless you're a librarian, you can't navigate it. So for somebody like me, I'm primarily interested in small and big game hunting and camping opportunities because I'm still kind of new to Arizona. I'll be able to pare through all that data, and it'll bubble up the stuff that's most relevant and important to me, and it saves me time. Don, you have a wider tent than I do, but it's going to keep you informed of all the fishing opportunities, land access opportunities, and so forth. So.
Right. Well, there's a lot of historic data that, I was concerned was going to go away because as we go through our conservation fight for hunting rights and fishing rights and land access, water access, most of the, it's like I don't even want to bring this up, but the Wolf War, that started so many years ago that now what we're finding is we're going back to 1995, 1998, pulling excerpts of the promises that were made, the promises now that are broken because we've had a generation change.
Sure.
Okay. The new guys, and I'm part of the generation change. I just haven't changed yet. But John and I are going to be. What are you laughing at?
Nothing.
You see that white stuff in his beard? That is not paint. Okay. We're getting to the point in our life that we've been fighting this issue with the ADA. We're having the old guys are going, I don't want to do this anymore, and we've got new guys stepping up, and they think, oh boy, we get to go out and we get to do habitat projects and we get to hunt, and we get to camp. No, this is politics in a pure form. So back to my point. I'm glad to see. And the information that I've learned from you and in some of your briefings, that the old website's going to stay in some format so that whoever's engaged in something other than in the field or on the water can get in there and dig around and see all the stuff that's actually happening.
Absolutely. Right now we've got a team that's going through our top most viewed web pages, and obviously those are on the A list for conversion to the new architecture, which will be much easier and more visually efficient to consume. But there will always be a section of the new website that is kind of more of a traditional model, because whether you're looking for politically relevant issues, or maybe you're a student in Maine who wants to do a paper on javelina and you don't have javelina in Maine, that we're always going to as a state agency be able to provide that resource.
Rumor has it that the Humane Society has turned feral hogs loose
in Maine.
In Maine,
I did not get that memo.
Yep. I will send that memo to you. I'm dead serious.
We've been talking with Tom Remington.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's one of the issues that the HSUS has been bringing up.
In fact, Tom's going to join us next Sunday. There's a big flap in Maine on Maine bear hunting, and they have a bazillion bears. They have bears, that are out here like our coyotes are a nuisance in town. The bears are a nuisance in town. And, we're blessed to have the problems that we have. As a conservation director for BASS and FLW, I get to talk to, especially on the BASS side, when we have a conservation director's teleconference, we have anywhere from 30 to 40 CDs across the country. And I sit there in awe. I have my own list of problems and stuff that we're fighting out here, gizzard shad and all these things. And I listen to these guys, and we're fortunate. They have overwhelming ponds and lakes with hydrilla and too much of this and too much of that. We got too much habitat. We don't have any.
We don't have any habitat.
No, so in talking with Chief Cantrell, if we can solve a couple of problems, as far as the lower 48s, we're good.
Yeah, I have to agree.
We're really good.
You guys know I'm from the East Coast originally, so I've been to Maine a couple times, and every state seems to have its hurdles. But we seem to have we've got a really good legislature downtown. We got a really good governor, and we seem to be able to get stuff done. It's good to be in a room with those guys, going back to those conferences and hearing what their challenges are and hearing how they approached them. Sometimes it saves a lot of time. Okay, I don't want to go down that road. I'm going to go down this road.
Well, you need to pride yourself on being part of the, I'm going to call it the revolution at the department. You're part of the change up there. And you can back me up on this. I think we've got, in my lifetime, one of the, if not one of, but the strongest commission that I can ever remember.
And since I've been going to meetings, and you're going back over 20-some years
now,
yeah, this is by far the best.
That, and there's been some personnel changes up at the department, and you're part of that. Cantrell's part of it. Jim DeVos is part of it. Hinkle's part of it. And I can go on and on. I mean, there are so many good people up there now, and it seems like we have a unified front. We're all banging the same drum, and do we have issues? Yeah, we do, and we can't solve it divided. We have to come together. I'm starting to sound like Jesse Jackson. If we cannot regulate, never mind.
No, don't go there.
Okay. Hey, we're going to stand down. Thanks to some of our sponsors. More with Scott Lavin, Chief of Wildlife and Recreation from the department. Bill Luke Chrysler, Jeep and Dodge, and some of our other fine sponsors. We'll be right back. All righty, we're back. Usually at this time of day, we talk to Captain Bill on the Malahini. We'll get to that as we go through, but I wanted to give you kind of a clue what was going on Friday off the left coast. 3 of the three-quarter-day boats out, JK, had 72 anglers. You might want to take some notes on this.
Yes, we're going to have a quiz after.
72 anglers. They caught, this is on three-quarter-day boat, 290 yellowfin.
That's 4 apiece.
Okay, and they had 9 yellowtail. The half-day boats, 2 yellowtail, bunch of sand bass, rock bass, barracuda were biting. The day-and-a-half boats had 6 boats out, 173 anglers. Now, you guys do the math on this, on the fish per stick. 829 yellowfin. 25 yellowtail, 9 Dorado. Bad news, 3 skipjacks showed up on the one-day boat. 4 skipjacks showed up. They had 90 guys on 5 boats. 387 yellowfin, 10 yellowtail. The dock count for yesterday wasn't quite as good. Don't know why. Haven't figured that out. 2 boats out, 71 anglers on the three-quarter day. They had 103 yellowfin, 6 yellowtail. Couple of Dorado, the day-and-a-half boats, 33 anglers on 2 boats, 165 yellowfin. And the one-day dock count, 155 anglers, 390 yellowfin, 15 yellowtail, 2 Dorado, and 1 skipjack. So skipjack's a bad sign.
Precursor.
Yeah, it's starting to do something weird. But what we haven't seen show up yet, still to come, is the big eye tunas.
Yep.
There's some bad boys, man. That's 100, 150 pound, 200 pound class.
You're going to need a bigger fish.
We're going to need a bigger boat. Yep. Okay. You went to the Arizona Sportsman's Hall of Fame dinner and induction last night. How was that?
It's a 501c3.
Did they serve elk and venison?
Oh, no. I wish they had.
I'm just saying.
No, but it's a...
You would think, excuse me, JK, but you would think when the ADA and the Antelope Foundation has a banquet, you'd have antelope chops, deer.
You might expect.
I mean,
if they were good hunters, you might expect.
Nice.
Unfortunately, Chaparral Sweets does not have a meat locker that we can hang anything in. It's just not going to work.
We can work something
Fair
out.
Enough.
That's like going up to having breakfast with the director at the Game and Fish Expo, you'd think you'd have, scrambled eggs and having bacon. No.
Pancakes.
Pancakes. He does a fine job on pancakes.
I'm not going to say what I'm thinking. I'm going to leave that alone.
Hello, IHOP.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry, JK, for the interruption. Go right ahead.
Well, it's the Outdoor Hall of Fame. It's a process that has been going on now since the late 90s. And there's usually 4 to 5 organizations or people, individuals who are inducted into the Hall of Fame. And quite frankly, last night, the ADA was very proud to have the Buckskin chapter inducted. And
that's our Northern Arizona guys.
That's the Northern Arizona guys,
boy.
and God bless them because they sure handle an awful lot of turf. Until you've driven, the 3,000 square miles of 13A and the 3,500 miles of 13B, which is just God's country, and there's some cattle ranchers up there, the Bundys, etc. There's not a whole lot up there. But last night they had, I'll just read some of the names that we had up there. Rich Leitner, who's the president of the Buckskin chapter, Danny Button, Mike Goodall, Jay Esplin, Connie and Tom Boslema, Cindy Aldweiler, Jim and Sam Galt, and Paula Leitner. When you get an email and somebody, the first name is the president, Richard Leitner, and the last name is Paula Leitner, there may be some dialogue between the two of them later on this morning, but you never know for sure.
Maybe.
Yeah, and then Jim, Sam, and Paul are all on the banquet committee. But that core group has been doing yeoman's work for years up there. And quite frankly, they deal with Nevada. They deal with Utah. They deal with Forest Service. They deal with Game and Fish. They deal with BLM. And they make it work. And quite frankly, it's nice to know that you don't have to be down in the big city politicking and everything else to get recognition. These guys, through their efforts over the many, many years that they've been doing it, have been recognized, and they're now in the Hall of Fame, for the Outdoor Hall of Fame, which I was very proud of them, and they should be very proud. And quite frankly, Rich Leitner gave the best speech last night for acceptance that I've heard in a long time. So kudos to them. They've done a wonderful job up there. And it's like anything else. You look at the projects that they're part of and they submit, those guys beat some trucks up awfully badly to get to some of those places. So
nice job.
Yep, they did well.
We've had reports on the feral hog hotline of feral hogs up on the strip. You know anything about that?
No, but I'm not going up.
I'm serious.
No, I have not. They wouldn't surprise me that they had to come out of Utah, though, because I know they didn't cross the canyon and they didn't go up from our south side. The people who would know would be some of the big ranchers up there, the Bundys.
Yeah, I think we need to, just out of point of curiosity, I think we'll check into that.
Have you ever driven through 13A or B?
Yeah.
It's like mile after mile after mile. When I had my deer hunt up there, it was 50 miles of dirt roads just to get to the camp. 9-hour trip from Phoenix.
Scott, how much hunting and fishing do you actually get to do?
You'd think working out next to Ben Avery, every day I walk out in the parking lot, I hear the shots,
bang, bang, bang.
And I figured I had hit the lottery when I got this job, and it's tough. I got a cow tag up in the 7A this year, so I'm looking forward to that. I got to tell you though, I haven't done much scouting those because it's tough to get away. So, but now I'm looking forward to dove season. I'd say I'm probably the most consistently a dove hunter because it's an opportunity hunt. I can do it close to Phoenix, and it's not an overnight excursion that takes me away from the family. So that's probably my best opportunity.
I live fairly close to an island.
That's interesting. That island. Listen to this.
Well, it's on Northern, and it's an old dairy, and there's random gunfire year round. Early in the morning, right at daybreak, pow, 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 pow. And it just, at first I couldn't figure out. I thought it was the drug gang getting at it in Glendale and Peoria, but.
Now, is that the Mesa Dairy?
I'm not sure the name of that.
I don't know. I do know the name right now. I'm just coming off of a self-induced drug stupor after a trip to the dentist.
You had one of those this week, too?
On Friday. Oh, yeah.
Friday,
yeah.
the boy was cut.
Okay.
Yeah, he gave me 30 Percocets. What I've learned, I'm good for 3. That's it.
I had 2 wisdom teeth pulled Thursday. I was put to sleep, and Mama had to bring me home. So I think we have the same prescription.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Wonderful, and I get to deal with the 2 of them on air.
That's I didn't. I cut that off yesterday morning, and I must say that was Bristol Motor Speedway. That's the first NASCAR race I've watched the entire race.
And you were capable of doing it, and it was wonderful because everything was going around and
yeah,
around.
yeah. Thing that Joy Logano won that last night. Slugged it out the 22 Pennzoil car.
Yes, he did.
Nice job, and poor Jeff Stewart. Or not Jeff Stewart, Tony Stewart. It's a drug. I thought Tony was going to be.
Well, that is a good prescription.
Yeah, it was. Those short track races, all that horsepower and all that speed on a half-mile track, just ugly.
It's a little rowdy.
Danica Patrick was more than in the way, numerous times. But that's all I'm going to say about that. And at least Jeff Gordon, I don't have to hear from Big Mike today. Gordon beat Earnhardt, so that's all he cares about.
Yeah, he does that, and every Sunday, the guy across from me sitting there goes, Jeff Gordon's not going to do anything, and then all of a sudden, dead silence.
Yeah. Oh well. Anyway, how many people do you have in your department working on this portal? I mean, this is such a monstrous undertaking.
I can tell you that I'm just a sub-team lead for the customer interface piece of it. So I couldn't give you an accurate number, but I mean when we just have our team leader meetings that they can upwards of 20 people in the room. So there's got to be, you think the department itself only has 600 and some employees. There's probably a good fraction of the department involved in this.
Wow. Alrighty, having said that, we're going to stand down and take a break. I'm Don McDowell with
Special K
and
Scott Lavin.
We'll be back. Alrighty, we've got Captain Bill from the Sport Vessel Ballahini online with us to talk about javelina hunting on the California border. Good morning, Captain.
Hey, good morning, guys. How you guys doing?
Hey, we're pretty good. We've got Scott Lavin here from the game department, Chief of Wildlife and Recreation. So say hey to Captain Bill.
How you doing, sir?
Hey, Scott, how you doing today?
I'm with these guys. You know how that is.
Oh, yes, sir, I do indeed.
Yes, sir. So what's happening? We've got a really awesome day on Friday. Looks like yesterday was a little down from Friday. What's going on? You got weather fronts?
I've personally been under the weather here the past couple of days, sinuses and stuff like that. Weather front moved in, I want to say, Wednesday. It was mild, and it pushed through, and, it affected fishing on the 18th. And it seemed like that was the only slow day we really had. On the 18th, we had 31 yellowfin tuna and 1 dorado.
Wow.
The 19th, things picked up a little bit. We wound up with 113 yellowfin tuna. And then the 20th, we had 124 yellowfin tuna. On the 21st, we had 191 yellowfin tuna and 1 skipjack for 40 anglers.
Ooh.
And yesterday, because of boat pressure and everything else, things got pushed down a little bit. We still wound up with 76 yellowfin tuna and 1 skipjack and 40 yellowtail. Overall synopsis, I do believe the fishing's still strong.
Oh, yeah, absolutely it is. I'm just trying to draw a parallel with, the numbers compared to Saturday were higher, and, looking at the weather map, a little something going on off there, not a whole lot.
Well, we still have that high pressure sitting off of New Mexico, which is keeping that, what they call it, the trough that comes down from Alaska that normally loops down right around San Francisco, then back up and across Washington and stuff like that. But I mean, it hasn't pushed that. It hasn't pushed too far south to really affect anything. We're starting to see skipjack in the counts, if you've noticed.
I have, and I always start getting nervous when I start seeing those guys.
Typically, when skipjacks start to show up, that's the tail end of what's pushing this way. And we believe we'll probably get another 3-4 weeks out of this before it starts to dissipate. But, there's good news with that also. There were a couple of boats that fished our backyard, if you will, the Coronado Islands, and they reported, pretty steady yellowtail fishing. A couple skiffs went out there, I do believe, yesterday and day before yesterday, and they had limits for the guys that were on the boats.
I haven't seen any big eye reports. Or you heard anything on that?
I have not heard anything about big eye, and I remember I told you guys last week about the bluefin that popped up, and we hooked and went away really, really fast. But I mean, fishing for the most part, this is probably the best year we've had since, I'm going to say, 1997, 98.
You got it, man. Yeah.
That's 14
and
years.
That trend is pretty much a trend. You'll have 4 or 5 pretty good years of fishing, and then it tapers off again for whatever reason. I contribute what's happened this year to the fact that an El Nino has popped up. Now our winter is going to probably be a little tough, just because typically with an El Nino you have that warm water push actually that warm water push never ended last year. We were in the yellowtail in January of this year, and we've been running steady since I want to say about the second week of February. Normally we're fishing cod that time of the year.
Oh yeah.
So we're chasing yellowtail around in February, March, April, May, June, and July, and then all of a sudden this yellowfin showed up. Bluefin. They opened it, then they closed it again, and we're still waiting to hear back from the Mexican government as far as that goes. Supposedly there's a letter that's supposed to be sent out in there, for lack of better term, sitting on the letter for whatever reason.
This is Shake, Rattle, and Troll. Political correctness isn't our forte.
It went out the window a long time ago with this crew.
I'm trying to be nice now. Come on.
Well, we've been following that whole thing with you guys over there. H&M Landing's near and dear, one of my happy places, let's say. And, the Mexican government, we had to have visas, and then you got to have a passport. Forget about that. Now you got to have another permit. Now they're pulling this crap.
Yeah. Well, my thinking is they shut bluefin fishing off because no one's buying visas, because you're not required to have a visa if you're fishing more than 12 miles off the Mexican coastline. Yeah.
Well, it seems to me like they're taking lessons from Congress and the current administration in Washington. Try this. If that doesn't work, screw it. We'll do something different.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah. I wouldn't doubt it at all. But,
it sounds really good. We're going to try to get over there here. We've been talking about the the second week in December. We've got Game and Fish meeting on the 5th and 6th, commission meeting that we need to attend, and then after that, I think we're open.
Well,
except for JK's going to tell you he's got a damn elk tag. I got to listen to that for.
Oh yeah, I'll be out elk hunting. What are you going to be doing? Oh yeah, okay.
Shooting doves.
JK, you're killing me, okay? You need to come down here and get on the boat in the conversation.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm going to do my best to get him over there. Are you much of a dove shooter?
No, not really. I really don't like the way they taste.
It's all in the preparation and the cooking. I guarantee you it's succulent.
Not enough wine and onions.
Oh, okay.
And bacon.
Yeah, dove hunting, to me, it's not much of a sport.
Oh! Let me ask you
I want to see you do
okay.
wing shooting on doves that have been shot at for one day.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You want to talk about aeronautics? Oh, my word. Don't even go there.
Okay, here's a guy Another one of my parallels. Won't eat a dove, but wants to kill 2 javelina.
I know.
I have no problem with that.
You better bring yourself a
It
case.
sounds like you're having a problem with your taste buds, with all due respect, Captain.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Sorry.
The best...
Dove breast versus javelina hams? I'm not sure we're going to go there.
At the very best, a javelina is going to take like 2 day...
2 day, yeah.
2 day old armpit. No, man, that's
Oh, my goodness. I don't believe that. Oh, you got to stick the javelina in an emu, guys.
Marinate your javelina in a case of Dr. Pepper for about 3 days. It's real good then. You can barbecue it.
Okay.
all right. Well, having said that, Captain Bill, we're going to wish you a good day, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, guys. Hey, have a wonderful week, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Okay, check out the Malahini at hmlanding.com. You can book online or call Rick over at the Tackle Shop, 619-222-1144. Having said that, back to you, Scott.
Okay, what do you want to talk about?
Nightlife.
Nightlife, yeah, the portal.
Well, one thing I do want to make clear, when we rolled this out, it's very difficult to try to do something that hasn't been done. A lot of states have been asking Arizona. Recently we did the license simplification process, and we lowered our, I think it was 150 different licenses down to, I think, 11 or 12. And everybody's very interested in how that's going. And now they're hearing about this new website overhaul that we're doing, and they're very interested in that. So, it's been a little bit of a pressure because, we go around to these other organizations to say, hey, this is what we want to do. How have you attacked this problem? And they're like, we got nothing, but when you're done, let us know. We'll come and steal it. So,
well, I went online and started checking different states, and I'm not going to tell you I hit all 48 of the lowers, but more than 50% of them, and we're going to be on the cutting edge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to pick on New Mexico, but they're like,
go ahead.
Texas, it's like, good grief. I was dumbfounded.
Okay.
They're fine, but, in my dumbfoundedness, if that's a word, comes from the leaps and bounds that our department's taken on this new portal deal.
Well, on a comparative basis,
yeah,
and
it's going to be way cool.
I still believe the best thing that you can do is have a search engine that functions really, really, really well. And once you get that, everything else will fall in line. But I swear, and I've tried to pull up documentation off the current website, and I get documents going back to 2002 and then 2009, and I'm looking for the one in 2014, which was 3 months ago. But it doesn't pop up. It's the search engine is not functioning.
That's
the way
not Scott's fault.
I'll take the blame. So no,
why?
We've really had an influx of amazing talent. The department has really hit the lottery as far as IT personnel after all the airline mergers have shaken out in the Phoenix area. So we have some in-house talent that is, for a state agency, I would say, top of the line. The reason this web offering is so important to the department is, you look at, I'm preaching to the choir here, but for those on the air who might not know, the current cohort of active hunters nationwide and specifically in Arizona is aging out. They're all us. They're 40 to 50-some-year-old folks that in another 10 to 15 years are biologically going to be incapable of hunting. We don't have another generation.
Not true.
Well, maybe you, John, in your knee, but, we don't have a significant generation following those folks. So this website has got to be, to your point, John, easy, efficient to attract the new generation.
Having said that, we're going to stand down when we come back. Vern Bagley from the Military Families Foundation Project we remember on the backstory, and following that up, we will do roll call for August 24th. We'll be right back.
Mow the lawn or fix the roof where the rain pours in.
All righty, Vern. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well, Don. How about yourself?
Life's pretty good. Scott and I both have made our annual trip to the dentist and take 5 or 6 months to recover from that. But other than that, life's good. What's new on the VA front on the backstory?
Well, on the VA side, we're almost again personal observation. We're almost in a point of being paralyzed. We've got a new chief taking his position in Washington, and we have new orders that are being issued down through the ranks of all the 153 plus hospitals and clinics. And a lot of people are sitting there, and they just haven't been able to put their hands on what the new chief, the new secretary, is really wanting. And I don't blame anybody, because this is a massive organization, and there are some real problems that are associated with the VA, as you know I've talked about for years, and you have too. And it's going to take a while. So I think we're going to have to show a little bit of patience, but be very, very alert as to what is taking place. Because if we are not, and I say this to you, I say this to your listeners, if we don't keep an eye on what is occurring within the VA system, this will slip from our headlines. This will go away from the top of mind of all of us, and we won't have accomplished a thing.
That's not good news.
No, it's unfortunately, it's just the way life is.
Well, Vern, we've got issues, that are, I don't want to over dramatize it by any means, but the issues that VA is facing are killing soldiers, killing veterans.
Oh.
There's a school of thought out there with some of the military folks that, if they ignore it long enough, let's say World War II guys, and they've got 3 or 4 years left, and we won't have any more, just because of old age attrition. And then you get into the Korea veterans, then you get into the Vietnam era veterans, and the same thing applies. It seems to me like they're taking care of the modern day soldiers in the Iraq and Afghanistan, Bosnia, Somalia, and so on and so forth theaters, which are the younger generation, and just basically tolerating the Vietnam veterans and older. Is that just my imagination?
Well, I think you make a very valid point. And one of the issues I've talked about, you and I have both talked about personally and on air over the years, is that there seems to be a mentality within the Veterans Administration, in particular on the benefits side, not the health side, but on the benefits side. This is where, for those who are not aware, that the VA is really broke down into two major segments: those who take care of the health care needs of our veteran community, and then the other one is the group that takes care of the benefits. That if a leg is lost, an issue has occurred while they served, they receive some form of compensation. In that latter section of the VA, that's where we tend to see a procrastination, an intentional procrastination within the system to hopefully keep these guys from getting the money that they really deserve by letting them just naturally die off. You see, once they die, once a veteran dies, he or she is not entitled. If they have not been rated, they are not entitled. That rating process goes away. It stops. And the only way it can continue, Don, is if and please, every veteran who is out there listening to this show today, there's one way that it does not stop, and that is there is a form that you can sign that will allow your wife to continue, or someone within your family, your designee, the right to carry forward your claim within the VA. If that's signed and you die before it's determined, it can continue. But if you don't sign that form, it will die when you die.
Interesting. Any comments, JK?
Well, I know my dad, in terms of what he's had to go through, he has certainly been rated. He's now officially 100% disabled, and he regularly visits the VA. He goes to, we're trying to transition him from Indian School to the one on Val Vista Drive in the 202.
And then this is a World War II veteran burn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, and it's hard for him right now because, he's legally blind. He can't hear. The hearing aids don't function nearly as well as you would want some to. And quite frankly, his hands now and his legs, they're just not functioning properly.
And your dad is how old, JK?
92.
Wow. Bless his heart.
Yep. So.
Well, Vern, I think that, sums up a huge problem. I was hoping that once we got a new chief of the VA, if that's the proper term for his current position, we'd start seeing some heads roll and some new procedures and policies, or at least initiatives to correct the functionality of the existing situations to help these veterans out.
But I'm not a pessimist. You know that. I'm an optimist. And what I believe is that if you and I, Dick, all your listeners, will continue to make sure that this stays at the top of mind awareness in the public's eye. Remember, the public has a final say because they're the ones who vote these people into offices that scares the daylights out of them, and they can't put pressure on the VA to comply. So we just need to make sure we keep these issues top of mind awareness. Don't let the media push it underneath a rug somewhere, and the administration, but continue to fight for these people who fought for us so hard and gave up so much that they deserve much better than they have been getting.
Absolutely, Vern. Join us for a roll call for August 24th, if you would.
Okay.
We lost one soldier last week in theater. Army Sergeant First Class Matthew I. Leggett died on August the 20th, serving during Operation Enduring Freedom, 39 years old, of Ruskin, Florida. Died on the 20th of August in Kabul, Afghanistan, of injuries received when he was engaged by the enemy. The sergeant was assigned to Headquarters Battalion of Airborne Corps out of Fort Bragg, North Carolina. That's, even one soldier is a big price to pay for our freedom, and this sergeant laid it down for you. Our thoughts and prayers to certainly his family and the unit he left behind, and everybody serving in theater today, keeping us free. I'm Don McDowell. Think about that for a minute.
Now, here's your host, saltwater fisherman, the man that fears no fish, Bass Daddy and Tournament Pro, Don McDowell.
All righty, we're back. Thanks for joining the second hour of Shake, Rattle, and Troll. Chief Scott Lavin down from the Arizona Department of Fish and Game, Chief of Wildlife and Recreation. Big undertaking with the new customer portal coming up. We've been talking about that. We'll bring you up to speed as we go through the show. JK's here. We had some news on the Buckskin chapter going into the Arizona Sportsman Hall of Fame. Good work for those guys. We visited with Captain Bill Wilkerson on the Malahini, relegated to couch duty today for some reason.
We've had him the last few times he's been on couch duty, and he's still very interested in coming over to Yuma to hunt jabalina. We've got to take care of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's unfortunately, the way things go. Javelina and turkey used to be targets of opportunity, but now you have to have a ticket.
It's just a tag, Don.
I know.
Don't worry. It's okay.
Whatever. Okay, yeah, ticket, Dinkwell. Okay, that's a whole different connotation.
I remember that name, Dinkwell.
Dinkwell.
Remember the movie Ferris Bueller? Dinkwell.
JK, he makes house calls. I'd be real careful with that.
He's a big guy.
He is, but my guess is, you don't want him coming for you. Yeah. Now we've got a couple things out there that we're doing the Bad Boys report, and unfortunately, we're still looking for information on the folks that devastated the
Riparian area.
Yeah, up on Mingus Mountain. I don't know if there's any.
Somebody knows something.
Somebody knows something. Somebody did it.
Yep.
And they need to be punished, let's say.
Now, some of the stuff I've seen up in the woods, with irresponsible OHV riders is just amazing. I mean, I've actually seen people taking their quads and doing mud jumps in dirt tanks.
Yeah.
And that's the epitome of stupidity.
Did you look at the photos of the damage?
I did.
That looked to me like a little bit bigger than a quad.
I was going to say it could have been one of those big side-by-sides. Somebody was just skidding through.
I'm just saying.
I know.
Yeah, I don't know who we're looking for. But anyway, back to you, Scott. Give me an idea of how this is going to work. Okay, so I go to the new portal website. Is it going to have a different azgfd.gov address?
Right now I can't give you that answer. I think in the long run it's going to have the same address. But what I understand is that when you establish your personal account, so when you go to Don McDowell's landing page, that would probably have a different tag than the Arizona Game and Fish page.
So I'm going to have my own email address?
You would have
web address.
So, and again, this goes back to the only thing I can relate it to in my experiences is like Facebook. I think you have a Facebook page, Don. So you will go to your Game and Fish web page. You'll log in with an email that you provide and a password that you choose.
Bam. Good.
And then boom. Okay. And then the neat part is once you establish that profile, and again, all this is free. Once you establish that profile,
I wish you'd use another word other than profile.
Okay. Once you establish your account.
Thank you.
Okay.
Identity.
I didn't mean to profile you.
I'm profiled. Actually, Larry Riley did it, and he coined the phrase "walking probable cause." The Dinkwell's all over. So.
No, I think. Once you establish the account, for those of us who buy hunting and fishing license year after year, we will never again have to ask you how many years you've lived in Arizona.
I always, I hate that question because I got to get my pencil and calculator out.
Yeah, the numbers, once you get beyond decades, then you start to worry.
Yeah, I tried putting in forever, and that didn't work.
Wouldn't work. No, you'll establish your account, and it'll be a one-time thing. And then anytime you need to after that, you can go in and change it. If you move to a new residence, you can change it. Hey, I went on a diet, lost 20 pounds, I can change it. For us, our hair used to be brown, now it's gray. Maybe we don't want to change that. We'll leave that as is.
Well, you go from gray to white, or in some cases, you just bypass the gray stage and go to what we call mega blonde.
I'm just happy to still have hair at this point. Right
Yeah,
now.
God love you. Yeah, heard that. Okay, so once my licensing information is in there, and I want to fill out my big game draw request, do I have to put my information in there again, or is it going to go to my profile, if you will, and pull that information?
You will be able to do all that online, and you won't need to recall your sportsman ID, which I don't know mine. I always have to try and find the file on my at home.
Yeah.
So all that will be auto-populated. You know what? I can neither confirm nor deny at this time without going to the file at home. But here's the neat thing. I think I have a feeling that you and John have maybe hunted together in the past. If you two go in on a same unit hunt, the way we're intending on this working out is you will no longer have to call John before you put in for the application. You won't have to call him to get all his personal information, his social security number, his sportsman ID. If he's also a portal, if he has his own portal account, you can just type in John Kolazar and it'll auto-populate that, and you'll never need to know his personal information.
Bam.
Wow. So, it's scary 20th century technology, and it's going to be
exciting. JK's pretty easy, assimilating his information, but I do it for Patrick, my son, my grandsons, and so on and so forth. With JK, you call Holiday Inn Express, pop right up. I'm just saying.
Oh, no.
And if that doesn't work, you call Officer Dinkwell, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I got him on speed dial.
So, no, it's pretty exciting stuff. We hope that the next step after this is that you won't get a whole lot of information about stuff that you're really not interested in. So, you guys are talking about OHV stuff, and I've always wanted to get into that. I just don't make enough money to get into that. So I probably don't need to get updates on OHV activity, classes, changes, and stuff like that. But I'm probably going to want to know what's going on in hunting in Flagstaff, because that's the area I tend to hunt.
Yeah.
And that'll be pretty easy and relevant for me. It's also going to keep track of all my bonus points. I just started buying bonus points. So that'll keep me up to date on that. It'll keep me up to date on where my license status is, because we switched to a 365-day license structure. It's not on the calendar anymore. It's a little confusing for some people. It'll let me know is my license still good. It'll also, for you, Don, it'll keep track of your watercraft registrations.
That's good news.
So it's a pretty easy landing page that'll scroll down, and then they'll give you some other ads and nudges on areas of interest for you, so it'll let you know when the next expo is coming up, or if there's a boating safety training class or something, if that's along your lines of interest. But it's not going to, again, overburden you with the 46,000 other pages of data that you may or may not be interested in right now.
What are your thoughts on this? Are you going to sign up right away?
Well, I am, and specifically, I was listening to Scott. He's starting to accumulate bonus points, and I'm looking at some of them where I've got 16 and 17 and 18 bonus points. That's scary stuff. And I'm hoping that as time goes by, the development, like most of us, and we've chatted about this in the past, when you accumulate bonus points, all of a sudden you become either a target of opportunity for somebody who goes, John, I know this great spot, but you have to hunt with me. We have to put in together. If we put in together, I'll share my bonus points with you. And you look at them and go, how many bonus points you got? And you got 3. Well, I've got 18.
Yeah.
But what most people don't understand is that in order for that to work, you have to accumulate. So you take my 18 and his 3, that's 21, divided by 2 to the maximum number. That's only 10 points that you're putting in for combined. And so that was one of the big issues that we had with people doing that with this tag surrender thing that we were talking about. And that's where I think more people are going to go on their own. There will certainly be groups that will accumulate, and there are going to be 4 guys who are going to hunt. They've hunted forever together, and they're never going to hunt separately, and that's what you're going to see.
I've noticed a pattern developing over the last couple of years. When I put in, as applicant A, I don't get drawn. If my son puts in as applicant A, we all get tagged.
Interesting.
I'm just saying. It's a far-reaching effect of Larry Riley.
What's your son's phone number? Maybe I should put in with him.
Yeah,
I'm going to.
Yeah. Albeit, in all fairness, all the commissioners are getting Christmas cards. I got a deer tag and a turkey tag this year.
Luckier than I.
I'm just saying. All right, having said that, we're going to stand down on this. We'll pick that up here in a little bit when we come back. Rick at the H&M Landing Tackle Shop, more on the saltwater side of life on the left coast with
Special K.
Scott Lavin.
I'll be right back.
Be a businessman. Things matter to me. Like
all righty, we're back fishing over on the saltwater side of life at H&M Landing in the tackle shop with our buddy Rick. What's happening, man?
Hey, Don, tuna, still going off.
Oh man, I'm telling you. Yeah, looked like we talked to Captain Bill on the Malahini a little bit ago, and looks like Friday was just a kick bass day, so to speak.
Oh yeah. Friday,
yesterday
Thursday
was good. What do you attribute the number variation to yesterday?
Well, the biggest thing is the pressure. With this fish so close, everybody that has a inner tube on out tries to get out there.
Don't laugh.
When the fish are that close, you see little bitty tin boats that should never be out that far, and every other private boat out there, and that kind of pressure puts the fish down. Even on Wednesday, we had a pretty good day on Wednesday. We went out and got about 120 of them. I went on that trip, and when most of the boats were out there in the middle of the day, the fish stayed down a little bit.
Yeah.
First thing in the morning, we got a nice whack at them, and we stayed late. And as we were leaving, probably around 5 o'clock, we were getting ready to leave the islands, which is late for a 3/4 day boat. And we were out of bait. We're cruising up, and all of a sudden, the ocean just comes alive.
Wow!
You see a bird skull over here. You see a bird skull over there. We stopped on one just for a few minutes. We put 20 fish on the board in probably 3 minutes.
Bam.
And none with bait, all on lures.
Nice.
Excellent.
I got 8 on the popper, which is about as much fun as ever.
Oh, yeah.
I was fishing a size 8,000 spinning reel and a little Alco popper, and just so much fun watching those. You guys who fish freshwater bass or the popper.
Oh, I get it. I totally get it.
Try it with the tuna, man. It is so much fun.
You know, I was out with the Malahini, and I was testing out. We've got a new at that time. I designed a Rio Rico and Rico popper type called the hammer shad, and I was over there throwing it, and it didn't even dawn on me what I was about to do when I threw it out there. The damn seagulls were. It was a fight to keep them off my my Rico.
I believe it. Yeah, the birds can be tough on that, but boy, when those fish eat it, there's nothing like it.
Oh, they eat it. Oh, trust me.
There's nothing more fun than watching a surface bite.
Well, let me ask you this: we're seeing some skipjack show up. How many weeks have we got before this thing evaporates? In your opinion?
There's only 1 or 2 skippies in there. There's so much fish out there; it's not even funny. I couldn't believe how much fish I saw over such a wide area. Yeah.
Are we going to go into maybe the 3rd or 4th week of October?
I wouldn't be surprised. Last year we went into November, and it wasn't nearly the year we're having here.
Nice.
So, the fish were there when the people quit coming, just to give you an idea. The people give up before the fish do, because going back to school and things like that. So.
Okay, how far out are the trips booked at this point?
It's starting to slow down. Once you get past Labor Day, it starts to slow down. But we've got 3/4 day openings actually only about 10 days out right now.
Okay, good. Well, we're getting ready to see the archery deer season is going. JK's got an elk tag.
Very nice.
Dove season's starting. This is starting. That's starting. So,
Yeah, that's the thing. Everybody finds other things they can do too.
I don't know. I think the end of September we could be out there.
I'll be there. I definitely will be there before that.
I know I'm going to be out there at least then. I got a 2.5 day coming up.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
That'll be fun.
We've got Chief of Wildlife and Recreation from our game department here, Scott Lavin. When is the trip scheduled that you're going to miss?
I think it's week after next.
Oh, man.
It's prime time.
And that's a 3 or 4 day trip.
Really?
Oh,
yeah.
Boy.
Yeah, we were out like 150 miles off of Baja.
Nice.
It was awesome. You can see anything in any direction.
Have they filled that spot, or can I buy that spot?
I'll drop a line for you. I think they might have had a few openings.
Really?
Yeah.
JK?
Don, don't go there. I don't do where I can't see anything but water.
Oh, you're going to have to suck it up, dude.
Hey, you know what?
Sort of sound like Mark Townsend.
You're still on the boat. So long as your feet are on the boat, you're under our land.
That's it.
We caught so much last year, I still have tuna in the freezer.
That's wrong.
But sometimes it's all about the catching anyway. You can still let them go.
Yeah,
especially
absolutely.
if you're catching them on bait.
Absolutely.
Whack 'em, pack 'em.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Twist your arm, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So.
But it's been, the guys fishing. We had a really good shot at yellowtail on the half-day boat yesterday, last week. It's dropped off a little bit this weekend, but like I said, when the weekend comes up, there's a lot more pressure on there, and the fish have too many boats running over their heads sometimes.
Or just out of curiosity, are any of these half and 3/4 day boats running up the La Jolla Trench?
No.
Okay.
There's a whole other group of party boats that works that area. We generally go south when we go.
Yep.
And there's been really good yellowtail fishing at the islands, too. There's been a couple of the private charters have been going over there. Everybody else has tuna fever, but the boats that have been going to the islands have been having good barracuda, really good yellowtail fishing, nice quality yellows, 25, 30-pound fish.
Nice.
And it's been really good. It's just one of the best years ever fishing all the way around.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Buoy 5, turn left, hang on. Here we go.
Exactly.
Yep. All right. Well, God love you, man. We'll talk to you next week.
Right, we'll
it's been a pleasure as always.
All right,
guys, here's your chance. 619-222-1144 or hmlanding.com. Get off the couch, go fish.
There is nothing that I would rather do other than elk hunting than that. I know. I'm tormented.
Not even a contest. Elk hunt, tuna fish.
Okay.
I mean, how can you go wrong?
Either way.
You know, you either got water as far as you can see, or you got a campfire at the end of the night. It's still a good day.
Oh, there's nothing to me better than first light in the woods as the woods, which everything is black, no moon, you know. And it's
John, it's the same way on the boat.
It is. You know, I couldn't believe I'd never been out in a boat that small, that far out. 100 miles out, and the water's still like glass. I expected some
chopping. How long is that Pegasus? Is that 90?
No, I think it's like might be 70 some. I'll have to check it out.
I think that's out of Sportsman's Landing. The Pegasus.
It's a good time no matter what.
It's great. I can't remember.
You're fishing or hunting, it's a heck of a lot better than working.
Yeah. You're getting out.
Yeah.
You're getting out.
Well, that and the opportunity.
65-footer.
How many?
65.
65. Okay. The opportunity to build memories. My last trip out, albeit was 125th and 825th and 26th day out. Having Patrick out there and my son.
Yeah. That makes a difference.
That made the whole trip, and it would be like watching you choke and puke and get bent over the rail and start squealing, and it was just. God, I love that.
He's actually smiling.
I would go to my grave.
Me hurling in the Pacific. He's laughing. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a good place to fish.
Yeah. It's all about the camaraderie, though, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Here, have some buttermilk.
Yeah, lot of bacon. Well, that and that's the other thing. The food on the Pegasus in most all these boats is just outstanding.
I don't know how they do it. I mean, they're in a galley the size of my bathroom at home, and I'm telling you what, they put out some good
Well, that was
chow.
part of my duties on the Blue Horizon, and it's considerably smaller than that boat you're looking at, the 56-footer. Stretching the tape about a foot. It actually measures 55, but they categorically, I guess at the front of the anchor, it's 56 feet. But, cooking on there, I mean, you have to lash your pots and pans down, and thank God for a food processor and, cold cuts, because there's days out there you're not cooking.
No.
And, I've had days where you're, frying burgers that are, the grill's, 48-inch grill. They're going
left to right,
49 inches left to right, and, trying to hang on. And a lot of Mexican food, a lot of burritos. I mean, that's easy stuff. Whatever you can cook, you roll it in a tortilla.
And I'm such an adrenaline junkie and extremist. I was upset that we weren't in heavy seas. I was looking forward to getting bounced around and beat up, and it was...
I tell you what, one really good trip, you will never ever have that prayer pass your lips again.
Yeah, this boy needs help. Get him on some meds.
Yeah,
Scott.
I can tell you stories that I won't go into on the air, but I've had enough personal experiences. When the perfect storm comes on, you break into a cold sweat and turn on Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, no, I know it's nothing to be messed with, but I just...
You had, speaking of adrenaline junkies, that Army Ranger shirt there, or is that a Ranger Bass Boat shirt?
No, it's a Ranger shirt. I went through back in '90, and that was an adrenaline ride, and that's when I was younger and more flexible and less brittle. I definitely like to try and push the limits. So,
thank you for your service. That term gets overused, and what do you say to people that have been there and done that?
Well, I just it was something that called me, and I really loved doing it, and I missed it a lot. I owe pretty much all of who I am right now to that experience. So.
Well said. Anyway, thank you for your service. And you too, JK. I know you have miles of community service behind, some court appointed, some not. Well, having said that, when we come back, we'll be trying to get a hold of James Guggenauer. Hopefully he's back from the Dunkerby Lodge up in Canada.
Muskie and pike fishing.
Nice. All right, we'll be back.
Well, the morning's kinda damp. I'm not worried about cutting the grass. Left my truck at the boat ramp, and my boat is full of gas. My old boss thinks I'm sick today. He won't have me to harass, 'cause I'm out here on the river.
and you can kiss my big old bass.
All righty. Usually that means we're going to hear from James Guggenauer. James is at large. I'm going to do my best imitation of James up in Rim Country, where the weather's always nice. He starts his report today with a reminder for all of us: the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is in the final days of the decision-making process to release the Mexican gray wolves. And by the way,
that's not a decision-making process. It's an agenda that is being rammed down our throats.
Thank you.
I'm the voice of moderation and reason.
Well, I've given our wildlife chief here a new red Mexican Wars T-shirt.
Like the color.
I wouldn't suggest that wearing that in the Starbucks. I mean, if you don't.
I'm guessing the color was not a fashion choice. I'm guessing
that's
the
called
color
heliconia red.
Yeah. Well, anyway. Back to James's comment. Yeah, they're talking about the final steps of their environmental impact statement and a final decision coming down on January of 2015. Basically, you're able to go to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and enter your public comment. We need to do that. If you haven't done that, again, I would urge you, if you go to the Shake, Rattle, and Troll website, we have both sides of the story posted up there, hopefully in a manner that you can consume and digest what happened in 1998, what lays before us today in 2015.
I just don't understand the circuitry that goes on people who are species specific and only one concern, and that is putting in a top line predator without any regard for any other. The concept of multiple use is gone from their brains.
Well, we're going to sum it up with we will grant them no amnesty. We will send them all south.
Amen.
Period.
Pass the mustard.
Okay. Bass fishing this week on the Mother Lake Roosevelt was reported to be good, possibly due to the increase in the water flow in the past couple of weeks. The best reported bait this week was a dark-colored jig using a flipping technique. Second was a dark-colored worm on a drop shot. Third was a 7-inch curly tail camo worm on a Carolina rig. Having said that, I would think a Carolina rigged lizard, Larry the Lizard, would work well as that. Early morning brought a little bit of top water. Wasn't real prominent, but stay with it. They're there. They'll eat the Rico and Rio Rico. Crappie bite was called fair this past week. Crappie are still being caught in the brush, 20 to 30 feet of water. A lot of patience, he says, is required to do that. My guess is they're probably using small 2-inch grubs on a 1/16 or 1/8 ounce jig head on 4 to 6 pound test line. Fishing up in the Rim Country lakes, and again, the stocking program for the department is just, it's just awesome up there. All the Rim lakes were called excellent this week, so.
I have no doubt about that, and I will tell you this. The temperature was yesterday morning, 48 degrees when I was doing my little video work. Oh, it was awesome. Awesome.
And that concludes the Rim Country Custom Rod Fishing Report. You can catch that on the left-hand side of the front page on ShakeRattleandTroll.com, as well as on the other side, What's Hot. We're going to have a link up from you on the portal. All that information real quick. All the stuff that's going on at the department is linked up there, so you can figure this Mexican gray wolf thing out. Let's talk a little bit about the bundling program.
Yeah. So again, when we first rolled this out, we were kind of thinking, okay, well, this is what we want to try to do, but we didn't know what to call it. And I personally, I'm not a big fan of the term bundle. We've called this everything from a club to a bundle service to a new product line. And again, at the end of the day, like the portal is basically just a new website. This other effort, unlike the portal, is target to develop a new business model for the department and a new line of products and services. I mean, you guys know the department doesn't get any tax dollars whatsoever. We're funded by license sales, and we spoke earlier in the show how those license sales are starting to decline nationally and have been for quite some time. But Arizona Game and Fish, like any state agency, is tasked with managing all wildlife. For the public. So you think of in Arizona, we have a pretty broad diversity of wildlife. We have 800 to 900 species of wildlife. Only 26 or so of those are actual game species that license sales generate funding for. So we've got to keep the lights on and the trucks running somehow. And the sportsmen are can't and shouldn't have to pay more. So we want to avoid having to raise license fees and tags and so forth. So the product line that we've been discussing, if you will, was an effort to offer products and services to the public that would help bring in additional revenue to the department to support all those other programs, the fish stocking and everything else that we do. And that's not even getting into watercraft and law enforcement and everything like that.
That's a whole nother can of worms.
Correct. So, different. We had the public meetings, and Don, you were at one of the first ones, and front row, front and center, and just a little loud, John, in case you can't imagine. But we got some really good feedback from the public and some really great ideas that we had not thought of. So we've gone back to our tech team, and I can't tell you, all the products that we're working on right now. But I mean, you guys know we talked a lot about tag surrender.
Sure.
The commission has decided to review that opportunity during Article 1 rulemaking, so that's probably going to be part of a 2016 release because that's a pretty lengthy and sophisticated process, and there's a lot of pieces that go into tax surrender that we want to make sure we address and cover the public concerns.
Let me ask you this, if I may. Was the postponing of this due to public pressure, lack of understanding, can't figure it out? Because it seems to me, and maybe I'm oversimplifying it in my own mind, it seems like a simple thing. I mean, it really does. I mean, it doesn't, how this got to be so complicated or diluted, let's say.
Sure. Well,
Well, it's like anything else, though, Don. When you have a point structure, the bonus point structure, and there is any opportunity for manipulation of that with a tag surrender program in place, then you have the grassy knoll theorists who come out of the woodwork. And certainly some of the people we know, in particular, from various constituent groups, have had issues with that. And quite frankly, it's a fallacy, because anytime you take one person who has max and you combine them with anything but max, they're putting themselves in a danger pool because they're not going to get pulled. So if they do get pulled once, I guarantee you the next year they're not putting in with anybody who has 3 bonus points. It's not going to happen.
To answer the question, though, I can't speak for what the commission's minds were on this, but I think that the largest concern for us in doing this, and we have no example to go off of. As I said, we've been trying to figure out how to do this best, and we're looking at introducing products and services where there were none. So we're creating a business model that's going to also create an expense line.
Well, you guys, in fact, are a business.
Correct.
Not taking general fund money and any of that kind of thing.
By the way, I hope the rest of the listening public understands that if you don't hunt and you don't fish, you're not paying for any of the wildlife that you view in this state. So
Nothing.
That is absolutely correct. And
so you just go ahead and keep passing out your CBD condoms.
So getting back to the question, I think the commission just wants us to make sure we have the opportunity to war game this enough so that when we release it, it's not going to be perfect. It's the first time release, but when we release it, we're at least in the ballpark, because like with any business, we're going to have to assign a cost to these services that didn't exist before, and that there'll be an expense to that. So we want to make sure if we roll this out and we price it wrong, it's not going to be successful.
Yeah, and quite frankly, anybody who surrenders, they're under the understanding that their cost for that tag that year is already done. So if it's reassigned to another person, there's 2 people paying for that same tag. That's a win-win. And I don't think you're going to see a multitude of people coming all of a sudden to the commission saying, hey, I have to have a tooth extracted that day, so I can't hunt for that week. That's not going to happen. But what you will find are people like myself. I mean, I had cancer surgery 6 weeks prior to my elk hunt, my first one after waiting 15 years. I had to do that hunt, even though I was not physically in the shape I wanted to be in. That's the kind of application that you're looking for.
Well, and Tag Surrender is just one of the many products and services that we're looking for. So we want to make sure that we have the time to get this right.
Well, hopefully when we come back, we can finish the rest of the stuff that's on your hit list. And again, I appreciate you coming down and
accepting our abuse.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's always a good time to be entertained by John.
Wow.
I felt the rush of the Rio Grande.
All righty, we're back. Thought to get this thing finished up with the portal, but John, one of the things I wanted to mention to you, the Build It Chrysler Jeep and Dodge does have a 2014 Ram, a 2500, by the way, crew cab with a Hemi, under 30 grand.
Hemi.
Ooh. If I want something to eat the road, I'm going to get it.
Oh yeah, nothing quite like a Hemi. And they were recently honored by the Walter P. Chrysler Club Award, Best in Class, highest recognition that's offered for overall sales, Mopar parts and service to the dealership, 5-star dealership, one of the largest dealerships in the country, and recipient of the Time Magazine Award. I-17 in West Camelback.
Since 1927.
Bingo. All righty. What else have you got on your list there?
I think we've covered a lot. Again, just the biggest thing I want to make clear is about the new website. Is the new website and your personal accounts are free. And then the additional services that we've been talking about, whether they wind up being as part of a bundle or part of a subscription or just additional services that you can have discounted because you have a hunting or fishing license. Those are the things that we're working on separately. And unfortunately, because of the many legs it has underneath of a Tag Surrender, there's probably going to be a 16 release. We are going to release a product line of new services in January. But this whole journey with the new website and the subscription services, they're going to be like any modern app you have on your phone or iPad. I have Netflix on the iPad. I've been checking it during the commercials to see if any new movies are on the night. But every month or so I get a nudge to update my app.
Yep.
And it's going to be the same thing with this. This experience is going to continue to develop because the one thing the department does need to bring ourselves to be relevant to this new generation is time and technology to grease the wheels and get things going. So this thing is going to do nothing but get better as we go down the road.
And it's going to be through input from the public. They're going to tell you what you need to do. And the responsive time frames that you and the staff take to turn these suggestions into a reality, that will make all the determination in the world as to how successful this is going to be.
Interesting. Anything you want to add or delete, modify, or suggest at this point?
For me, it's always been a matter of when I go to any website, I want it to be clear. I want it to be what I call intuitive. And I have to deal with software on a regular basis in my business world, and some of that stuff is absolute garbage. If there's not intuitiveness to it, you struggle with it. And, I don't have the mind of a 3-year-old, and I don't have the mind of an 80-year-old. I'm somewhere in between.
12.
Okay. On my good days. So what you want to do is to be able to have the feeling that you can get to the point where you want to be. The more success you have, the more often people will hit it. And the more often they hit it, the more successful. It's a cyclical thing. So I'm hoping that you guys can see that. That's my preaching for the day.
I think they hit pretty much all that right on the head.
Yeah, I do too. I really do. For me, it's like anything else. This is what we pay for. you are reacting to something, and it's an issue that's been out there for quite a while. Some of the adjustments that we've asked for, and I can't do anything but compliment the fact that you guys are on it as hard as you are and as quickly.
Oh man!
And I got to give the IT team a tremendous accolades. We went into a meeting this past week to see the mock-ups of what the actual user experience is going to look like, and it is above expectations from what we've been
What
seeing.
about conservation bonus points? You have any knowledge on where that is? I know it's under discussion, and somebody that we're all fond of brought that up in, 1995?
1992, I wrote that.
92.
Well, being the young buck in the department, I've heard it's kind of like a folklore for me. I've heard it's obviously been discussed and brought to the table numerous times. I think there might have been some discussion last month on it as well. So, and John, going back to your part about the public input, as long as the public's talking about it, I'm sure it will be being discussed and looked at. But that's just too far out of my expertise. You guys know I'm not a biologist.
The key for it is it's like anything else. You're going to have people, a vocal minority, who will find fault with anything, but you have to look at what I call the greater good, as well as the opportunities and the presentations that will. And, like the conservation bonus point is something where we need people involved. We need families to go out with their kids to understand this is not a video game. There is not a trophy mule deer behind every rock. There is not a bull elk that scores over 400 inches behind every tree coming out of every meadow every morning. That's not the reality. And that land, those animals do not survive without the input from the public. And quite frankly, we need to have more and better people working on the land on a regular basis.
Did all that, and the people that, you talked about that bunch that complained, those aren't the guys out there on the ground to begin with. They're the keyboard killers, as you like to call them.
I call them the keyboard killers and the sportsman complainer
everything
group.
that the department tries to do.
Yep.
They want to sacrifice the good of the whole for themselves.
Well, yeah. And if you can't be involved, and here's the logic behind it. Some people have said, well, I can't put 20 hours in to get a conservation bonus point. I don't have the time for that. Then you don't have the time to do a hunt.
They don't. If you don't have time to go to a meeting, get involved, engage in the process. And with a lot of us, you have to learn the process.
It takes time.
It's a big process.
It does. I mean, you can what we on this side of the fence, and no disrespect intended, but you guys have a process. I don't necessarily agree with it, only because it takes logic and extends that out to the point that by the time we get to the end of it, we forgot what the initial mission was to begin with, and we have to move. It's like the wolf thing. I mean, that was started in 85, 88, went to 92, 95, 98. They made a promise to break it. This is 2015 that we're talking about doing something on.
Go ahead.
The logic is no amnesty, send them south. They came from Mexico, put the damn wolves back in Mexico where they belong, and it's a done deal. You don't like that?
Well, John hit on something that I really want to reinforce. You're so right about getting the families out, John, and the Arizona Deer Association and most of the all of the nonprofit game organizations in Arizona do probably some of the best jobs of this in the entire nation, but it's a family event. You have to have the positive social reinforcement to say what you're doing is cool and right, to put in the time, because everything we're up against for these kids' time is being marketed as it's so easy and convenient, and we all know fishing and hunting is not always easy and convenient. It's a calling, it's a dedication.
Right.
And if you don't have that family unit supporting you,
backing you on what you want to do.
Exactly. Yeah. So,
well, I want to see more people involved in conservation projects. The groups that do, there's a thin line between what I call bribing kids to get them out to go, and that's why some of the youth camp issues I had, are people who take advantage of that. But the greater good of it is that people who need help, who want to experience it, and who don't know how to do it, have been, urban raised and haven't ever had the opportunity to get out in the woods, come out with us. We've got a youth deer camp up off of the Young Road this year, and we're going to try and help kids who have the deer tags. And we want those first-time hunters to feel free. We're sending out personal handwritten invitations to all those people. Come out, camp with us. We'll show you how to go, where to go, and what to do. Obviously the final prey is always yours, but we're doing everything possible we can to make sure it's a pleasurable experience and a learning one.
Nice.
The soapbox is now gone. It's yours.
Well, now, I have to apologize. I start talking about this wolf thing, I just get irate. The logic. Where's the logic in all of this? There isn't any.
No,
we're fighting as you've heard, and you know this firsthand, the VA problem. We've got ADOT problems. We've got this problem. We've got that problem. And if you're dealing with a state, a county, a municipal organization,
multiple users, the Cattlemen's Association,
you can change the subject, and the fight's the same.
It always is.
It is. This thing with the fish and game, or not fish and game, the wildlife service out of Albuquerque, there's too much autonomy there. I'm not sure who in the hell they answer to.
Well, they have a different aspect and a different look, and quite frankly, we need to separate between conservationists and environmentalists. Those are two different worlds. They sound the same, but they're not.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to have Tom Remington on. We're going to start exploring that and continue our support for Arizona Game and Fish Department and our commissioners. We have to do that. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Sorry there's no NASCAR in your afternoon today. Hope there's not a weed eater involved. JK, God love you. Thanks for the update on the buckskin chapter of the ADA. Good stuff.
Great guys.
Scott, again, sincerely from the bottom of my heart, thank you for your service and your sacrifice. I know there was one there. And same thing on the department. That's a hell of an undertaking. Absolutely.
I appreciate being here.
I appreciate you coming down. That's it, guys. Take your kids fishing.